Welcome to another earth-shattering and exciting adventure in real estate with your guides, Mr. Bill Barnett and Kevin Mills. This is the Investor Guys podcast. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yep.
We have been talking forever about strategies that you need to be doing to be prosperous in real estate at any given time. We decided last show to kind of get back to basics, and for a little while, we're going to go step by step and try to talk about getting started. A lot of you watch our show because you want to get started in real estate and you haven't gotten started in real estate yet. Others of you've started real estate and you're looking for extra tips and tricks and everything else. And we hope we've provided that to you. But this is good for everybody, to be honest. This helps you get back to your roots. This reminds you of maybe steps you need to do again, maybe steps you missed the first time around that will help you be more successful coming on. So we're going to try to do this step by step. And last show we talked about GOYB, get off your butt. Essentially, get started. Don't let anything hold you back, not even yourself. Okay, peel the Velcro off your butt and your seat and get out there and start making offers. So today we're going to talk about making offers. A lot of people are afraid of making offers. And the things that I hear, they're like, well, what if I can't perform? First off, if you're not serious about this, then don't make offers. Okay.
Yeah.
If you are serious about being a real estate investor, you have to make offers. Don't say, well, what if I don't perform? Get out there, look at the deals, and understand that you don't have a choice. You're either going to be a real estate investor, you're going to figure out how to perform on offers, or you're going to keep playing real estate and taking classes and watching these podcasts and watching other people's podcasts and wishing you're a real estate investor. So making offers is your next step in this journey. Why do you think, Bill, that people are afraid, new investors are afraid of making offers?
Well, one, this is new. It's not something they've done before. Two, whenever there's money involved, I'm dealing with a consulting client right now that is made the move to move forward with hiring a consultant and then scared to death to buy a property. I'm like, you can't get out of your own way. So one of the things that years ago happened with me, I was talking to Mark Victor Hansen, the co-author of all the Chicken Soup books. Mark's been my big brother in business since '78. And we weren't talking about investing, we were talking about speaking. And I was just like, man, I'm not a speaker. So many new investors think of, well, I'm not an investor. I'd like to be, I want to be, but I'm not. And I said, I don't have that confidence that you do. And he goes, I know you can not only do this, you can crush it. Like, yeah, I don't have that confidence that you do. And he said, so do this. Take my confidence. Use my confidence in you until you get your own confidence. And I was like, wow. So how that relates to a new real estate investor is you learn material. You come here. You learn from two guys that have been doing it for, Kevin's been over 30 years. I'm right at 30. You read books, you buy programs, trainings, you go to seminars, and you hear people that if you're here, they're up here. They're way, way more successful at this than you are, and yet you won't follow. So that creates a lack of confidence. So lack of experience and lack of knowledge, really the only two things that will make you lack confidence in anything. So find somebody that you relate to and buy in and say, you know what, I'm going to follow exactly what they're telling me to do and do it the way that I'm being trained to do and see what happens. Most of the time, you're going to find out that you end up in a good spot.
Yeah. One of the more crazier responses I have gotten, I've asked students, or I've told students, get out and make offers. I have, and you, Bill, I know you've had these people in your class before too. Someone's going to raise their hand. They're going to say, what if we get accepted offers? What do we do if we get an accepted offer? Like they're afraid of, going out and making an offer and then, oh my God, what am I going to do if I get an offer?
Yeah.
That's the next step. All right. But
Yeah.
the offer process is not painful. It is a painless process. It literally is not difficult. If you find a property that makes sense, and we'll talk later in this series of step by step on running your numbers, okay? Understanding what your numbers are and what property is a good deal, what property is not a good deal. It's honestly right now, in order to get you started, in order to GOYB, all right, get out, start looking at properties. You're going to find properties, even if you don't understand right this minute how to run numbers exactly. You're going to find numbers, or find properties that the numbers, you just know they work based upon what all the other properties in the market are going for. And you're going to say, you know what? This property is $50,000 under market value. This property is $100,000 under market value. And a lot of people, they like to say, you know what? This is too good to be true. This is too good to be true. You know what? You have a property that's being listed by a licensed real estate agent on the MLS. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to make an offer. You're going to put down an earnest money deposit, which is not a lot. It can be $1,000. It can be a check that you hold until you open escrow. Okay. And we'll talk about that later on in this show. What are you afraid of? You are talking yourself out of making an offer. You say, you know what, this is too good to be true. Somebody else is going to see that, and they're not even going to think twice about it. They're not going to say, oh, this is too good to be true. Oh, why is this property so cheap? They're going to say, you know what, good deal. I'm going to make an offer on it. Another good deal. I'm going to make an offer on it. When you see those, make offers on them. Now, one of the things I think that people are afraid of, especially starting out, is once I make an offer, what happens? I'm locked in. They think that they're locked in. They think that they are stuck. They're going to have to buy that property no matter what. That is not the case. Okay. Make the offer on the property. Honestly, even if you haven't learned how to run the numbers, make the offer on the property and you've got time to run the numbers.
Yeah.
You're going to have time built in automatically. Every single state on their offer contract has the standard offer contract has a due diligence period. That is a period of time that you are going to be able to go get a home inspector to go over the property and look and decide what that property needs. Now, if we're talking about a property that's a rehab, not only do I have a home inspector go in there, I have my contractor who I want to do the work, go in there, do an itemized list of everything that needs to be done and what it's going to cost. And I compare the two lists that I get, the list from the home inspector, because the home inspector is going to put that same list together. Okay. And you're going to have that home inspection if you want to get financing. They're not going to take your contractor's list to do your financing. You have to have a licensed home inspector in order to get your financing. So you take that list that the home inspector gave you that you have to have anyway, and you hold it up side by side and you look at your contractor's list and you see if one person missed something and you add it to the other list, whichever list it is. All right. If it's something that's in question, call your contractor and say, you know, the home inspector found an issue on the roof. Did you notice that? You know what? I saw it. I don't think it's going to be an issue. Or, you know what? I totally missed that. You know, make sure you put that in there. Make sure you put everything in there. Sometimes you're going to be buying a property where it's not going to matter. Okay, you can find everything possibly wrong with that property and go to the seller and say, you know what, this is what's wrong with this property. Can I get a better price? They're going to say, no, I priced it knowing that this property has issues. This is the price. This is where you decide, does this work for me? The profit spread that I have in here, is that going to cover my cost to repair this property? Is that going to cover my cost to hold this property? Now we're coming up on a break. We'll continue this conversation in just a second. We'll be right back. And we are back. Now, I was on a rant and a rave here before we left, but bottom line, don't be afraid to make an offer. Okay. You've got typically 7 days in every offer to make for due diligence period. Okay. When you're in a market like Bill's or mine, I like to get 10 days because sometimes it takes 3 or 4 days for you to schedule a property inspector to get out there. Your contractor may be pretty busy. It may take him 3 or 4 days to get out there to take a look at the property. Um, put in 10 days in your offer. Worst thing they can say is no, we want 7. Okay. So 3 less days. Get off your butt and hustle and make sure that you get your home inspector out there. Make sure you get your contractor out there. Another thing I like to do, depending upon the property, if it's a big deal, or when I first started, especially, I will go out there with the home inspector. Usually the listing agent will meet the home inspector out there to let them in. I will go out there when the home inspector goes there so I can walk the property again. You know, I won't be looking over the home inspector's shoulder, stopping them from doing what they're doing because they hate that. I'll let them do their thing. I'll wander around looking at the property. The real estate agent doesn't care. Okay. When the contractor goes out there, if it's not the same time as the property inspector, I'll go out again when the contractor's there. I'll wander around and see if there's anything that catches my eye while I'm there. Bill and I have done this enough that there are things that we catch. Sometimes the property inspectors and the contractors don't, because we know these things from being investors. Our contractor knows how to fix things. Our property inspector knows to look for problems. But there's things that Bill and I will notice, like, you know what? This refrigerator, this stove, this is old. It's going to have to go. I need to make sure that I account for that. That's not something that's going to show up from your contract. That's not something that's going to show up from your property inspector. He's not going to say, old refrigerator needs to be replaced if you're going to flip this property. Old oven needs to be replaced if you're going to flip this property. Ugly sink in the kitchen, needs to be replaced if you're going to flip this property. We're looking at things like that because we're going to be replacing this property. We're looking at the cabinets. You know what? I didn't notice before how ugly those cabinets were when I first looked at this property. I got to rip those things out and put in new cabinets. What's that going to cost me? I didn't realize that this is an ugly laminate countertop. The cabinets look great, but the countertop's going to have to go because I need to have it upgraded so that I can flip this property. So spend some extra time, call your real estate agent if you need to, and just go and look at the property again. That is their job. They don't mind doing it. Let's get back to making that offer and overcoming that fear factor. And I'm going to toss it to you because I've been gabbing so much, I'm getting a sore throat here.
Well, I would say the first step that excuse me, a new investor needs to do is they need to establish a relationship with a realtor. 97% of all single family homes sold in America are sold through the MLS. So I know there's a lot of gurus out there that teach, oh, you don't need a realtor, da, da, da. And the technical answer to that is, okay, technically you can do this without a realtor. Why in the world would you give up 97% of the market? Why would you give up somebody that works for you for free? Because they do. When we're buying, that selling commission is absorbed by the seller. So they're working for us for nothing. So not only do you have somebody who's licensed and trained, they have infinitely more experience than we do, especially when we're new. So that's the first thing I would say is to get comfortable with making an offer, get with a real estate agent. And then there's a couple of key phrases that agent needs to know when they start looking for property for you. And the worst thing you can say to an agent, and I've heard this from, probably 100 different agents through the years, is please don't ever tell your students to tell their agent, hey, I'm looking for a good deal. That's everybody's looking for a good deal all the time. That's kind of a duh statement. But what we can say is, hey, you know what? I'm willing to look at property that is below market value because they're not in selling condition. If they're not in selling condition, they're not going to bring top dollar. those are the properties that I want to look at. We recently looked at a house that was a hoarder house. And not, a lot of people, I called my mom and dad hoarders. Man, I had no clue. You couldn't see the outside of this house. They had stuff stacked all around it. So, that's a house that's not going to bring anywhere near what the retail value would be of that house in excellent condition. Agents understand that. So you just look at them and let them know, hey, find me something that's not in selling condition. If it's not in selling condition, we've got a shot to be able to go in and buy it at a price that makes it work for us to be able to flip.
Yeah. Your agents are part of your team. Okay.
Yep.
They
Absolutely.
are literally part of the team. And you know what? They know that. They want to be part of your team. They want to be team you because they make their money when you are happy. When you're happy with something that they bring to you, they're making money. So consider this person a member of your team. That is absolutely what they are. What would you tell your team member who's out there looking for property for you? This is the criteria I am looking for. Does it have to be set in stone? Does it have to be this exact criteria? Can it be a little different in either direction? Absolutely. I want to take a look at it if it makes sense. This is what I'm looking for. This is what makes sense to me. So they're going to be out there, and every time they get hungry, every time they need a commission check, they're going to be out there looking for a property for Kevin. They're going to be out there looking for a property for Bill. They're going to be out there looking for a property for you because they know that if that property meets that criteria, that's a property you're going to want. And guess what? Not only are you going to want it, there's going to be a dozen other people out there that want it. Okay. So you make sure that you take care of this team member. Make sure that you take them out for drinks every once in a while. Make sure that you send them a Christmas card. Make sure they know that they are part of team you so that they send those deals to you first, because a smart agent is going to have a list of 10, 15, 20 other investors who are going to be interested in these properties. And there are agents who just make it their entire business to work with investors, because they know if they find a property that meets a certain criteria, they are going to easily find an investor who takes that property. When we have an agent who brings us this property, don't waste their time. All right. Don't waste our time. We are doing this as a business. All right. If we're not serious about properties that make sense and making offers on properties that make sense, then we're in the wrong business. You can just keep sitting and watching the podcast and learning more about real estate. Doesn't hurt to learn. But unless you're serious about making offers, and if someone brings you an offer and you're looking for excuses not to make an offer on it, then you're in the wrong business. You need to GOYB. All right. There is nothing to be afraid of making the offer. When we make an offer, Bill, let's talk real quick about the process before we go into a break. All right.
Okay.
We got a minute, but if that doesn't take that long though. We see a property we like. We make an offer on the property. It can be asking price. It can be below asking price. Don't go crazy. Don't say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna make $50,000 below the asking price." If it's a good deal when you're looking at it, don't make the crazy offer. All right. I've made offers at asking price because I wanted to get the property, and asking price was a good deal. Now, if asking price doesn't work for you, you're going to need more money in order to accomplish what you need to do, then adjust that asking price and let them know. Let your agent know so they can present it to the seller. This is why I have to out for less, because it's going to cost me an extra $20,000 to get the pool fixed. It's going to cost me an extra $10,000 to get the roof fixed. Put those things in your offer so that they know what's going on. We'll continue that when we get back. It actually took longer than I thought. So we'll be back because we're way up on a break. All right, we're back. So we're gonna make the offer. All right, and we're gonna put an earnest money deposit, and we can do that with a check. All right, it can be $1,000, it can be $5,000, it can be whatever you want. Okay, but honestly, an earnest money deposit of $1,000 is going to be acceptable most of the time. Okay, and we can ask the agent. We can write on the check. We can write on our offer. You know, earnest money deposit via check to be held until escrow opens. Okay. And then they'll put that into escrow and it will count towards our down payment. Now, if you're worried about $1,000 to worry about for your down payment, then you're not ready for this. Okay. You have to have money to make money. I'm sorry. Yes, you can buy real estate, no money down. But if you want to get started and you're serious about real estate, you're going to need to have a source of income. It doesn't have to be your money, but you need a source in order to put money down to acquire these properties. Again, it doesn't have to be yours, and we'll cover that in the series that we're doing as well. Money, all right? But you have to have money. So if you're saying, well, $1,000, it's, you know what? If you can't write $1,000 check to be held until escrow opens, then you're in the wrong business. You need a GOYB. You need to figure out if you really are serious about being a real estate investor and how to find that money so that you have that money to start making offers. Remember, this is a business, okay? It doesn't have to be your money. There are a lot of people who are in businesses of all different types, and they're using investor money, they're using shareholder money, they're using money that they borrowed in order to leverage their profitability by using somebody else's money to start making these offers. So you don't have to have the money. You don't have to have money of your own. You just need to figure out where you're going to get money from so that you make an offer. $1,000 to be held until escrow opens. All right. You have 7 to 10 days to make an offer on the property. Now, Bill and I, back in the old days, we were told write and or assigns. Okay. One of the things that
really old days,
real estate agents and sellers attorneys do not like is when it says and or assigns. And for that very reason, you could have the highest offer. And if it says and or assigns, there are people who don't care. They'll be like, no problem, because they understand it. Okay. There are other people who are like, I don't want to do it. If you're buying this property in order to wholesale it out or to flip it before you purchase it or anything else, buy it in an LLC and take on another partner before you have to finance this property. And we'll talk about that later on in this series as well. But bottom line, and I'm going to toss this over to Bill after this, bottom line, you do not need to be afraid to make an offer. There is no reason for you to not get out to make an offer. Whatever obstacle, whatever hurdle you think there is to making an offer, let us know. Write us an email. Contact at investorguyspodcast.com, Bill at investorguyspodcast.com, Kevin at investorguyspodcast.com. I'm going to put this as a question on the podcast when we load the podcast up, okay? Because now we have the ability to do polls, okay? If you have a challenge that you are concerned about, let us know, and we will cover it on one of our future shows, because I know sometimes you guys are watching this a year after we made the show or 6 months after we made the show, but we'll cover it. If you give us a question, we'll cover it. Okay. If there is a challenge that you think is an actual real challenge to making an offer, let us know. We'll tell you the answer. We'll tell you how to overcome it. And as I said, I'm going to toss this to Bill and let him run out the rest of the show.
So we're going to the Four Corners offense. Run the clock out.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you start making an offer, all you have to do is understand this is not this incredible financial decision. Oh, the gross debt of America is going to be affected if I make this offer or not. You've got at most $1,000 at risk. And if you change your mind prior to the expiration of your inspection period, you've got no money at risk. So it's get that part of it out of your head. When you're worried about, is this property a property I'm going to be able to make money on or not? your agents, when you tell them, I want stuff that's below market value because it's in below market condition, then they're going to look at that and go, you know, here's a property that you ought to be able to make some money on. And I get agents that will call and say it just like that. Here's a property you ought to be able to make some money on. Because they understand enough of the game. They've looked at enough of properties with investors that they get a pretty good feel for, hey, this is a good investor property. I'm amazed that more real estate agents aren't investors. But I wouldn't worry about losing my escrow. I've got plenty of time to handle that, still get all the information I need so that I can make that decision. Am I in or am I out? And if I know I can do that, what's the purpose? What's holding me back? Why? Well, so a lot of you are going to say, well, I can't get it financed. Well, understand this. Once your contract gets accepted, you've got 30 days. And typically I will write my contract. So the offer is, they ask for an expected close date, 30 days from date of contract execution. So the seller accepts your offer. They sign off of it. Now the clock started. I got a month to be able to put the money together. I've bought probably most of my property, not having a clue how I was going to pay for it in 30 days and not worried about it. After you've done it 2 or 3 times, you go, you know what, 30 days, if you're on top of it, 30 days is a long time. I can get hard money in half that time easy. And now a lot of mortgage companies can do it faster than 30 days because things have gotten so automated with the internet through the last 10 years, 15 years, that they can move faster than that. So I'm not worried about the time frame. I can put private money together, and all of these things will go into as we get into the funding side. But there's a lot of people that will go, even if I make an offer, I don't know how I'm going to pay for it, so I'm not going to make an offer. So I'm just telling you, don't worry about that. We'll show you how to do that.
Yeah, worst case scenario, like I said, you bring in a partner to do.
Yep.
If it's a good deal, it's a good deal. If it is a genuine good deal, then you're not the only person who's going to be able to see that. There are other investors who will partner with you because they see that it's a good deal. There are other people who will give you your money. They may not know anything about real estate investing, but they may trust you and they may trust your numbers and say, you know what? I'll make this investment with you for a return on my investment, which is exactly what the bank is going to do. The bank is investing their money with you so that they can get a return on their investment. So don't say, oh, well, you know, I can go get a loan at the bank. Yeah, you can go get a loan at the bank, but you could also get a loan from your neighbor, Bob, who thinks that's a great deal as well. All right. There's no reason not to give some money to Bob instead of giving it to the bank. You know, there's no reason not to get out there and make an offer. I hope that that's the point that we drove home during this show. There should be no fear whatsoever. You've got 7 to 10 days to get your due diligence done. That's plenty of time in the real world to get it done, unless you have a natural disaster or something like that. Okay, that's going to cause, and then people understand that. Okay, there's built-in clauses for that type of thing in our offers. I'm like Bill. I actually have 30 days to close from acceptance of due diligence. Okay. And we should be able to close no problem in 30 days, especially if we are serious real estate investors. Even getting started, when you first start, you should have enough resources and enough phone numbers and people to call to know how you're going to finance this deal and what you're going to do for your money down. 30 days, that check that you made for $1,000, again, if that's going to kill you, then you're in the wrong business. All right. That check isn't going to even be deposited or cashed until you get through that due diligence period and you say, let's pull the trigger on this. Let's go. And they start escrow. If you find something that's wrong that you're not going to be able to overcome, it changes the numbers in your inspection, they're going to give you that check back with your signature on it, because it was supposed to be held, and it's held by the broker, by the agent's broker. It is held in their vault, in their office, until it's ready to go into escrow. They're going to hand that check back to you, and you can rip it up, and that money is still in your bank account. No reason not to get out make an offer. If you have a good reason, please let us know what it is because we'd love to address it. Way over on this show, but great show. I hope to see all of you back here with your stories about offers that you made. If you got questions when you make an offer, send them to us. We'll try to get them answered right away. Not even on the show, just try to get them answered and then share them with everybody else. Make those offers, get out there, start being a real estate investor. Stop playing real estate investor and watching podcasts and taking classes and reading books. Get out there and do it. GOYB.
There you go. I like it. Happy hunting, as you would say.
Yes. Happy investing. We will see all of you guys back here next time on the Investor Guys podcast.
See
Have a
everybody.
great one, everyone. All right.
Cool. Good show, bud.